Hello, beautiful. If no one told you that you are beautiful today, let me be the first. You are listening to the Estrogen Chronicles, Her Plate, Her Power. And I'm your host, functional nutritionist Gail Thorpe. So grab your pen and your paper and your tea or coffee and let's get into it. Okay, ladies, hello. Well, I might have a little bit of a scratch in my throat because I had been sick. I lost my voice, so it comes and goes. So right now it seems to be here some, so I feel like I would take advantage of it today. And I wanted to get out here and make sure that I cover some good topics that we as women need to cover. So, but I'm coming along, thank God. But I love talking to you ladies and sharing a wealth of information that can help you to feel better and to help you to empower your plate to be healthy. So today what we're going to talk about is perimenopause. I know you're saying like, no, perimenopause, as we know, that's the first stage before you go into menopause. And so many people are going through that. I have clients, they're like, am I going through this? I have friends, and a lot of women want to know what to do when they're going through this transitional period of their life when it comes down to that, as well as even menopause, which we'll talk about at another setting. But I felt like I wanted to come out and talk a little bit about it on some of the foods and some of the symptoms because it's confusing. And there's not a lot of information out there when it comes down to perimenopause or even menopause for that matter. So that's what I'm here for. So we know that that's a transitional phase when we are going through perimenopause. It's basically a woman's body is gradually produces less estrogen and hormones. Now, and this typically happens or begins like around the 40s, but it can even start in the 30s. Yeah, it can actually even start in the 30s. And it can last for several years until menopause. And that which can take officially 12 consecutive months without a period. Now, even though that's a lot of fun to not have your period for 12 months or more, but we know that it also means no more children. If you want to still have them, you may want to try to keep going at it because that's when that cannot take place, of course. What's the difference in some of the things when it comes down to menopause and perimenopause? So, of course, the perimenopause, again, is the transitional phase before menopause. And when we're actually in menopause is when our menstruation stops permanently. What happens with our hormones is that our estrogen and progesterone levels will fluctuate now during this perimenopause season, and the estrogen levels are considerably low for menopause. So we're going to have fluctuations between the estrogen and progesterone during perimenopause, and during menopause, the estrogen levels are consistently low. Okay? So with our system, we're fluctuating with our symptoms due to our hormonal situation that's going on. So we constantly are fluctuating with our symptoms. We have all kind of different symptoms that are starting to take place, and I'll talk a little bit about that in a few moments. And then with menopause, our symptoms will continue, but they tend to stabilize. And then with perimenopause, we have irregular periods. So it's either going to be lighter one day, heavier the next day, or you'll have a miss months, right? But we know that with menopause, our periods will tend to be without a period for 12 months or more. So then that's when we're looking at actually being in in menopause. So with perimenopause, some of the symptoms that we're going to have, as I just mentioned, we're going to have irregular periods. So we're going to have hot flashes and we're going to have night sweats, right? So invest in a good fan that you can use, because at nighttime you're going to be dealing with that, and you're going to be dealing with that during the daytime. When you're at events, you see the women flashing and waving back and forth, right? So that's some of the things you're going to deal with. You're going to deal with mood swings. So you're going to have anxiety sometimes. You're going to be irritable sometimes. And you're not even going to know why this is happening. So that's why sometimes the husband says, you know what, I'm going to leave out for a couple of days because I can't deal with her anymore. Just let him know that this is natural, what you're going through. You're going to also have sleep disturbances, so you're not going to be able to sleep as much. So if you're starting to feel when you're at that age now where this could be happening, where you're sleeping not very well, that's a sign, okay? You're going to have brain fog. You're going to have some memory issues, right? So that's another thing that you'll be dealing with, not being able to remember where you last put that pin. Right? And that whole brain fog of things, you can't seem to think. You're like, I'm struggling trying to remember what I told Sarah yesterday. That's normal. Don't be alarmed. Those are normal because these are hormonal changes, right? So you're also going to be experiencing vaginal dryness. That can happen as well. Some women may not experience it, but some may. And then you may have decreased libido. Okay, so if you feel like that's happening as well, and you're around that age of having to go through perimenopause, know that that's normal. You may have breast tenderness as well. Okay, you may have weight gain, especially around your abdomen. Okay, and you also may be experiencing fatigue. So these are some of the very strong symptoms that happens during perimenopause. If you're starting to experience some of these different things, and you're around that age of being in your late 30s or 40s especially, then you know that your body is transitioning at this time. So don't be alarmed. You can always get testing to find out if you are going through perimenopause, but just know that these are common symptoms. Okay. Now, what are some of the things that can help us when we're going through perimenopause? As far as when it comes down to food, that's what we talk about here is the power of our plate. So what are some of the things that can help us during this transitional period? Okay. So we do know that estrogen. So, because remember I said that there's a fluctuation of estrogen and the progesterone levels. So here are some of the things that we can have or eat at this time that can help to balance those estrogen and our hormonal balancing foods. Soy, so like tofu or edamame, okay, tempeh. These are phytoestrogens, okay, they can actually help with us. Because remember, like I said, those are the fluctuations, right? So we need some of that to help balance out our hormones at that time. I'm not saying that you eat a whole lot of this, but you can definitely have some of this to help with balancing out those estrogens levels. We have flax seeds, okay? And that happens to be like a plant-based estrogen. It also provides omega-3s. You have leafy greens, which helps with magnesium, it helps with calcium, and your B vitamins. And then we always talk again about cruciferous vegetables like broccoli, kale, cauliflower. This helps to support to detox, and it also helps with hormonal balance. It really actually does. And then fatty fish like salmon, sardines, and mackerel. Those provide the omega-3s that helps with inflammation, and it also helps with your mood. Okay? Remember I said about your mood, right? Your mood you start to get moody and irritable. You don't know why. But again, foods can always help to empower us and help us with our symptoms. And then we can have berries, which provides the antioxidants, and they also are very anti-inflammatory. And then nuts and seeds, which are healthy fats that provide the magnesium and the zinc that you're needing. And then we can have our whole grains, so quinoa, we can have oats, we can have brown rice. This helps to bring fiber to us, and it helps to support our blood sugar stability. Okay? So remember to write that down. Okay. So what are some of the foods that we can help to, or not necessarily help, but actually to avoid? Those are the foods that we just talked about that we want to put more into our diet, but there are foods out there where we want to avoid during this time. Because what happens with these foods that I'm about to mention, it will only to help to bring out all of those things that we talked about, those symptoms, it actually highlight them more, right? And we don't want that. So sugar, numero uno. This happens to worsen your insulin resistance. Sugar also helps to encourage mood swings and weight gain. So we want to definitely cut back on sugar. Alcohol. Now, alcohol disrupts our sleep. It doesn't help with our hormone detoxing, and it helps to actually worsen your hot flashes. So alcohol, we want to limit or totally avoid alcohol. Caffeine. Caffeine is a trigger for hot flashes and sleep issues. Caffeine. I mean, we shouldn't be surprised about that one. But that one is definitely something that we want to pretty much either eradicate altogether or cut back drastically. Then we have processed foods, which encourage inflammation in our body. And processed foods actually disrupt our hormone balance. So eating a lot of stuff coming from, McDonald's and things of that nature, no good, especially when we're going through this particular time. Red meat and a full-fat dairy, especially when they become excessive. Sometimes we love meat. A lot of us love meat. We're going to cut back on some of that, because what that can do is it can actually worsen and cause, estrogen dominance in some cases sometimes. And then, of course, with the dairy, okay, which also disrupt our microbiome a lot of times. So we want to cut back on these things, or completely eliminate if we can, if that's possible. Some of the things that we can do also to help us during this time, there are some supplements that we can take to help us along. And I always mention before, when I ever talk about supplements, for those of anyone that's taking medicine, any kind of medication, ladies, be sure to check with your doctor, okay? Because sometimes when you're taking supplements or any type of herbs, it can increase the medicine that you're taking, or it can decrease the effectiveness of the medicine that you're taking. And I don't want to see that to happen. So don't run out if you're taking medicine and go and buy some of the things that I'm saying without first checking. You want to make sure that you're able to take it. Okay? So the maca root, now that helps with energy. It helps with mood. It helps with libido. It does. It really does. And it also helps to balance your hormones. Believe it or not, it does. So we want to take a look at that. Black cohosh. Can't talk today. And that helps support hot flashes and mood swings. So black cohosh helps to support hot flashes and mood swings. Okay. Chaseberry, Vitex. That helps to regulate your menstrual cycle and your progesterone levels. Okay. Ashwagandha. That's an adaptogen. And that helps with stress and adrenal support. Magnesium. That helps to support mood. It helps to support our sleep. And it actually relaxes our muscles. Okay. Vitamins D3 and K2. That helps with bone health and immune support. And then we have calcium. Calcium supports bones as well. And this is what we need, especially because now our estrogen is starting to decline. So we're going to need that. Evening primrose oil. This can help with breast tenderness and hot flashes. Okay. And omega-3s. These help to reduce inflammation and it supports your brain and your heart health. Okay? So hopefully you took all of that down. All right. So I'm hoping that by talking about this today, about the difference between some of the things that happen when you're going through menopause versus perimenopause, what are some of the things that you are to look for when you're going through perimenopause? What are some of the foods that you want to increase in your diet? And what are some of the foods that you want to decrease in your diet? These are all very important. Now, as you know, I always offer a gift. I always offer a gift. Okay, just give me 1 second. Okay, ladies, I'm sorry about that. I had a little interruption there. So I am back. Okay. So like I always offer you a gift in reference to what we're talking about. And today is no different. So today I'm going to offer two things, a smoothie and a juice. Okay. Now this smoothie is what we're going to call our hormone balancing smoothie for perimenopause. Okay. This will help to support your hormonal balance, and it's going to help to reduce symptoms. So what we want to do is get 1 cup of unsweetened almond milk or oat milk if you like. We're going to do one scoop of plant-based protein powder and 1 tablespoon of ground flax seeds. Remember we talked about that as far as some of the foods that we should be having. We're going to have a half avocado for the healthy fats. And 1 handful spinach or kale. A half cup of frozen mixed berries. 1 tablespoon of chia seeds or hemp seeds. Okay. 1 teaspoon of the mica powder. We talked about that. A half teaspoon of cinnamon. This will help with our blood sugar balance. Okay. Now what we want to do is we want to blend that well and enjoy. Now this smoothie is rich in omega-3s and fiber, plant estrogens, and nutrients, which will help to ease the mood, energy dips that you may experience, and some hot flashes. Okay. All right. Now the next one will be our perimenopause hormone harmony juice. This is going to be juicing. So we're going to take it, and like I said, excuse me if my voice goes out a little bit. Like I said, I've been sick, guys, and I'm slowly getting myself back together. Okay. So we're going to do 1 cup of a cucumber, which is very hydrating and cooling. 2 stalks of celery. This helps with the anti-inflammatory, and it supports hormone detox. We're going to use 1 small beet. That helps to support liver detoxification of your estrogen. And then we have 1 apple. This helps with natural sweetness and fiber. Then we're going to do 1 inch or a piece of a fresh ginger. This, of course, reduces inflammation. It also aids in digestion. We're going to do a half lemon. That's going to be peeled. That's for the vitamin C, and it supports adrenal health. We're going to do a handful of spinach or kale for the magnesium, the calcium, and the hormone support. And this can be optional if you want to do one tablespoon of flaxseed oil to provide for omega-3 and for hormone balancing. So you're going to put this all in our juicer, all the ingredients. Okay. And we're going to go ahead and drink it while it's fresh. And you want to do this on an empty stomach in the morning or mid-afternoon. Okay. So why does this juice work? I'll tell you. Cucumber and celery, that's hydrating, it's cooling, and it reduces hot flashes. Okay. And then we have beets and greens, which helps to support estrogen metabolism, and it helps to detox the liver. The flaxseed equals omega-3s, which helps with the mood, helps with joint pain that you may be experiencing, and also it helps that hormone balance. And then the lemon and the ginger, this helps to boost your digestion, and it reduces inflammation. Okay? All right. So now you have two things to take a look at, a smoothie and a juice that you can try. If you're going through and experiencing some of the things that we just talked about today, then you definitely want to take a look at those things to drink, which will help in so many ways. Also, if you're looking for some of the supplements that we talked about, as you know, I am a functional nutritionist, and I do offer very high power, high grade supplemental things that you can have when it comes down to herbs or supplements or vitamins, and they're practitioner based only, that you won't be able to get in the store. I would love to have a consultation with you about that to help you with these symptoms. And if you want to know more about how you can get a personalized, customized program just for you during this time, I would love to hear from you. You can always go to www.nutritionudesign.com. Book a consultation with me. Love to talk to you further. Okay? That's what I do. So I hope you have enjoyed today, ladies, because as we know, we can empower ourselves by taking back the power in our plate. There's not anything out there that we go through as women that food and proper nutrition cannot help. And with that being said, as you know, well, this is not just a journey, it is a lifestyle. I hope that you have a great rest of your week. And I will see you soon. Hopefully by next week, my voice will be even sharper and I will be finished going through all of losing my voice as I have the last couple of days off and on. Enjoy yourselves, ladies, and thanks again for watching or listening.